all right, party people. This is your man Griff, and you see who we got over here, Miss Camille Smith. And I know you say, "Well, who is she?" You about to find out. This is a wonderful, wonderful young lady down there in the great state of North Carolina, and she was a part of our 60-day challenge. So we all had that 60-day challenge, and with that 60-day challenge, we covered a lot. We covered a lot of
We
stuff.
did.
So the first time, y'all familiar. Oops, wrong one. There we go. So we
Yes.
had this 60-day challenge. This is the first one. It was great. And this is what we're
Awesome.
talking about. This is the one we're going to be talking about. And we enjoyed ourselves. And she was a part of the goal setting. So
Yeah.
she's going to share with us what she learned and how it has helped her and where she thinks she might have been had she not done it. So we're going to have her give her story about how she was with the business, left the business, and now she's
Mhm.
back and she's going to be tearing it up. So if you down there in North Carolina, you better get your act together
Get
because if
on
not,
it.
you're going to be missing out on all kinds of
Yes.
orders, and she's going to get you.
That's right. That's right. Get on it or get left. Get on the bus or get left. It's so good to be back, Griff. Thank you for the opportunity to
Mm-hmm.
talk about my awesome experience with that 60-day challenge. I'm so grateful to have had that experience with everyone. Like I was saying earlier, the notary family is my
Mm-hmm.
family. We
Wow.
all blend in, we all fit in, we all talk about everything from life challenges to what we're doing next, and we feed off of each other. So it's been a great experience. Griff, like you said, my name is Camille Smith. I am a notary down in Charlotte, North Carolina. That's where I reside. Obviously, I'm commissioned for the entire state of North Carolina. I'm also a realtor. I am licensed in both North and South Carolina.
Okay.
And to give you a little bit of background about me, Griff, I became both a notary and a realtor around about the same time, just around the pandemic.
Okay.
I was birthed that vision from God, I believe, to work both businesses. I always knew I wanted to be a
Oh,
real estate agent for the second half of my life, but
right.
somehow notary came into it and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with general notary work, but I naturally come from service. I'm a woman of
Okay.
God. I go to church, but I definitely wanted to realize that there were more ways to help people than being a real estate agent. There are
Understandable.
documents. As a mom that has raised three, I have needed notaries more than a few times.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what? I can do that. So I branched off into notary, and like I said, got licensed and commissioned right around the same time. I did the whole kit and caboodle. I did the loan signing, electronic notary. I did all of those things, and everything felt great and natural. Soon after I got licensed and commissioned, I started selling houses. So notary work started taking the back burner. Only general notary work, only people that reached out to me. Hey, Camille, I need a notary. Hey, Camille, I need this. I was there for those people and I enjoy doing it. Ran my business, that small side of business. But last year got really slow with real estate, and I always knew in the back of my mind, I've got to get back to my notary. I don't want to lose sight of that vision that God had given me, and marrying the two businesses, or acts of service, I call them, was just so natural that I was like, now is the time. So since about mid-year last year, I started rebuilding my business. Also, being a wedding officiant, I says, Camille, you've got to make it happen now. 2024 to 2025 is the year to make it all happen. So here I am, and I reconnected with Belinda Bennett, who is actually the president of the North Carolina Notary Association now. And she's just always just like a plethora of help. But most
Mm-hmm.
importantly, she runs her business to a T. And yeah, I know you know Belinda.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's where I
Yeah.
am. And when I saw that she was doing the goal setting, I
Mm-hmm.
figured out what I was going to do to work with Belinda, and it made sense for me to set my
Yeah.
goal.
So, what were two or three things that you felt you needed help with for its goal setting
Mhm.
that she was able to help you get the over that hump, as they would say it?
Yes. Well, my goal actually was to set up a website. My website, I had a vision of my website with my real estate link,
Hmm.
my notary link, and my
Okay.
wedding efficient link, and to
Excellent.
just make it glam bam. So I was
Hmm.
working with my niece, who is a digital creator, and so
Cool.
the two of us met weekly to brainstorm. But at the
Hmm.
same time, behind the scenes, obviously, in order for me to build this website, I had to get
Hmm.
my business running up and running and
Got to
get,
do the work.
if people were going to be clicking on my website, I better be ready to perform. And so
Yeah.
so Belinda was pivotal in just giving me the smaller steps.
Okay.
She was key in giving me the in telling us to break down our big goal into smaller goals. And so
Right.
that's when I began doing. I began making sure I got my all of my ducks in a row again with my refreshing on loan signing. I
Okay.
had done it before. And as a realtor, I'm comfortable with these documents. But to just get my business back in order, of course, in the finance aspect of things,
Hmm.
these things are going to take time. I have my regular bills to pay, but to now get renew these certifications, get making sure my business is right with the Secretary of State, just making sure that I'm picking up more on the information that is important to know in these times. So I
Gotcha.
was just doing filling in all my little crevices with notary. I even met with another wedding officiant married by
Okay.
Lexi. I met with her and got some great information from her.
Good.
Took notes on
That's
that.
awesome.
So when it's time to attack that, I'll attack that. So yeah.
So, so what's one goal that you are? So now you got your website goal accomplished, I would assume. So what's the
Yes.
next goal that you're looking at accomplishing? Because
Uh
this time it's going to be you doing it on your own, sort of. Even though you
yes.
got Belinda, but now it's time
Yeah.
for you to implement those strategies that she taught you
Mhm.
on your own.
Absolutely. It is getting my business running like a business. I was just doing it like a side job, and I heard
Okay.
I've heard you talk about this is not a side job. This
Right.
is our livelihood.
Hmm.
And I didn't even treat it as a side job. I just treated it as a tool that I had. Well,
Okay.
now I want to maximize on it. If people need it, like I said, if someone needed a notary, hey, Camille, I'm dealing with this title. Hey, Camille, I have this HELOC
Hmm.
documentation. Hey, school affidavits or school
Right.
acknowledgement, those little things. But
Okay.
now I'm ready to level up my business. I would say my next goal is to get signed up with all the with all the signing agencies that I can. I've been collecting information on those recommendations
Hmm.
and just getting the full kit and caboodle. That's the focus. I signed up with a bunch of field inspection services. That little money is trickling in.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
so all of those things add up. And really just getting what's on this website, getting that up and running. So that's my goal.
Gotcha. Because one of the phrases that I came up with was the number one way to market your business is to be ready to do business.
Yes. Hmm.
And that's the biggest failure point that I've seen in the 7 years that I've been doing this is that the average notary is actually not ready to do business. And just
Hmm.
as an example, on yesterday, Monday, there was an
Hmm.
order. I'm looking at my calendar. There was an order that I did at 2:30. I was supposed to did it at 1 o'clock today. But
Hmm.
all of a sudden, last minute on yesterday, Monday the 14th, they said, "Hey, we need to do this today."
Wow.
And the people and the buyers of the property, they was like, "What are you talking about? We're still doing the walkthrough. Nah, we're gonna do this on tomorrow, on the 15th at 1." I
Hmm.
said, "Call somebody," but they told me, and we made it happen. So I
Wow.
added it in. had to add that in there between my 12:30 and my 4 o'clock. I had to find a way to squeeze it in there and make it work, and I did.
Wow.
So that's the thing about always being ready and available to do
Mm-hmm.
business when they call on you, because they will remember that more than anything that you can say.
Mm-hmm.
You can say
Oh
all the
yeah.
fancy stuff you want, but when
Oh
they
yeah.
say, "Hey, can you make this happen?" Matter of fact, another example, there's an order that I'm supposed to do that came out for me to do on tomorrow. And next thing I know, they're like, "Oh," the guy was like, "Well, I can't do it on tomorrow." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I said, "Well, no problem." He said, "I can do it on Thursday." I said, "I'm booked at that time." The next thing I know, the title company, the signing company comes back and said, "Just get it done Thursday, Friday, Saturday."
Okay.
I said, "Okay, bet."
All right. You pick a day. You pick a
I
time.
said, "You ain't say what's the phrase they say now? Say less." I was like,
Yes.
I said, "I got it." So after this, I'm gonna contact them and say, "Hey, since he's working all day Thursday, let's shoot for Friday or Saturday. You let me know how y'all want to roll."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's It's all about your availability. So,
Flexibility is important.
mhm,
Professionalism, that's number one. Not losing your cool, right?
mhm,
Not losing your cool and just saying, and standing on your schedule and finding like
yeah,
that's one of the things that we learned in real estate. Okay, I'm available at this time or I'm available at that time.
that's it.
What works for
So,
you?
so it seems like,
Sorry about my dog, my grand dog in the background. I don't know what he's barking at. I hope he's not
don't
too
worry about
loud.
them. And anybody who's listening, don't you even make a comment about you don't. Wow, next time put that dog up.
Oh
Don't
my
you
goodness.
better not even say nothing on this video about that.
This is
This
not
is life.
even like him. I don't know
I
why he's
know.
what he's barking at, but I'm safe.
You
I'm on
know
the
Griff
dirt
on us.
floor, so it's not an
All the
intruder.
doggies love Griff. They love me.
That's
All the
what it
doggies
is.
love Griff.
He must
He
hear
hear
that
my
deep
voice. He's
voice.
like, "That's Griff talking." So look, this is life, and this is what it's about. Everything can't be pristine and all of that kind of
That's
stuff.
right.
So
That's right.
and you know what? I could edit it out, but I'm not. I
Yes.
got a tool that I could take out the background stuff, but you know what? Just
Okay.
for you other
That
people out there, I'm gonna leave
that
the
served
doggy
you.
in there.
He's a huge Italian Mastiff. I don't know what he's barking at, but I want to go and grab him right now.
I
But
know you
it's
good.
okay.
You good. This is life. This is the way it is. Because
Yes,
when you're in a
yes.
person's home and their dogs are barking and stuff, you still got to stay focused on the
Mm-hmm.
task at hand. So
Absolutely.
hearing the dog, it don't bother me none. I'm like, okay, it's a dog. Long as he ain't
How
out there
about
biting nobody, you good.
right? How about the chirping smoke detector? Whew. I know I'm gonna be like, okay, no, I'll be
That should be
focused.
a
I'm
goal
not
of
worried
that
about
should
that.
look. That should be a goal of mine, not to let that bother me. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, that is the one thing I can. That
Yes.
I can't deal with it. I stay there, but it really I
Mm-hmm.
can't deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, because it's like nails on a chalkboard. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
so I
you
can
don't
deal with the
want that.
dogs. I can deal with the kids. I can
Yes.
deal with Grand Theft Auto playing,
Yeah.
but don't do not throw a smoke detector in there.
Yes. Yeah.
So what I'm seeing from what you're sharing here is that probably the first go around with the business, you was in it, but you didn't really have definitive goals, and those that you possibly had, you didn't really have a plan to accomplish them to the level that you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So now you see you got partnered up with
Yes.
Belinda. You got
Mm-hmm.
some skills, some
Mm-hmm.
tools to use to move forward
Yeah.
in the business and to be able to set your goals, to be able to realize when your goals are too big and to break them down into something a little bit more measurable. That's what it
Right.
sounds like you've accomplished mainly.
Yes, yes. And I should say this, Griff, I was following you back then too. So don't think you
Okay.
were exempt. I was on the Griff Mobile. We met I'm sure we met back then. Online.
Mhm.
Um but I was definitely on Griffin Notary Services back then. There were a few people that Notary on YouTube was the best place to be. Um and yeah, back like you said, back then I didn't have a goal. I didn't know what I could accomplish being a
Right.
notary. I didn't know how much help I could be. And being in real estate, it showed me how to manage time, block
Mm-hmm.
time,
Yep.
handle, objections. I think everything happened the way it's supposed to have happened because I
Right.
was taking on a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, you can take on
Yeah.
so much being a notary.
Take
You're
on
like,
too
oh, I
much.
want to
Yeah.
do that. Oh, I want to do that. Oh, I want to do that. I am down to loan signings, weddings, a little bit of field inspections
Mm-hmm.
to fill in the time. I am not going to overwhelm myself at my age. This is the
Yeah.
second half of my life. I've raised my children and I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I
Yeah.
enjoy helping people accomplish. Um
Mm-hmm.
and of course getting paid to do it. So I'm
Yeah.
going to, still not, like one of your videos or a few of your videos talk about taking and you talked about it on Stars group last week, taking those smaller paying jobs. Like I'm
Mm-hmm.
here for it all. I'm here for it
Yeah.
all. You can start me at lower pay because once I start maximizing and once I start getting really comfortable with my pricing, I'm going for the gusto.
Yeah.
Because I know I will know my worth. I already know I'm a leg up just being a realtor,
Correct.
and I knowing my professionalism and what I have to offer. So, just knowing your value proposition is really important, and you got to know what you're doing. I'm not
Yeah.
ashamed
That's the
to say
main
I
thing.
don't know enough about the notary. I need to
Mm-hmm.
know. I need to really be studying that notary book more often and get really comfortable with the notary certificates. The
Right.
stuff.
That's the key thing. Right. Once you understand the notary certificate, you'll be good. And see, with the
Mhm.
small orders, here's one of the things that people don't realize. I have more cancellations from larger orders than smaller orders.
Mm.
I have more this week alone. I'm looking at my calendar right now. I got 3 cancellations already this week. I
Mhm.
got
Wow.
2 last week. And then I got from the first through the fourth, I got so that was what 3, 2, so that's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This month alone, nine
Wow.
cancellations.
Wow. And it's
However,
we're only midway through the month.
however, I'm sitting at about 45 or 46 closings for the month still.
Oh wow. Wow. Okay.
So
So, I mean, sometimes you have to count it as okay, that's a break. We're not going to
right.
make a big deal. We count it as a blessing. You're like, okay, you can fit a little something else in there, maybe do a
Mm-hmm.
little field inspection work or, take care of
Or
something else.
whatever.
God always makes ways. He
Right.
always makes
And
a way.
see, and just to share to the audience, I've said many times on the YouTube channel, my goal is from the first through the 15th to get as many orders as I can.
Mhm.
From the 16th through the end of the month to do the same. So like right now, I think if I calculated it right, I'm sitting at about 40, 45 or 46.
Okay.
Okay. So that means my goal now is to hit another 45 or 50. Because last
Mhm.
month I did 86 appointments. This month I want to hit 90.
Wow. Wow.
So that's a goal. You see what I'm
What's
saying?
that an
That's a
average?
goal.
How many a day? What's that? Is there like an average a day?
Probably 3 to 4 a day, depending
Okay.
on. Now, here's the two. You can count it one or two ways. You can count it for the whole month,
Mhm.
or you can count it based off of Monday through Friday or the actual calendar, the weekdays. So if
Okay.
you count it by the weekdays, it's probably closer to 4 a day. If you
Okay.
count it with the weekends included, you're talking about probably three.
Okay.
You're averaging
Mhm.
probably three and everything. So like
Mhm.
I got Friday, I got only two, but then Monday I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Today I had only two today. Seemed like I had more,
Mhm.
but only two today. Then tomorrow I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Tomorrow one of them got canceled from my fifth one, and then Thursday I got four, and then Friday I got two, and then Saturday nothing.
Okay.
So you're talking about probably pushing about 3 to 4 a day
Yes. Yes.
consistently.
Right.
And now, and that's just that. Then I take advantage of the downtime to do my house inspections.
Mm-hmm.
And I did 57 house inspections last month.
Wow. Now, I mean, I don't know if this is for this call or for the one-on-one that I booked with you for later, but the home inspections, what are we talking? Are we talking exteriors, or are we talking like groundworks sketching?
Groundworks.
Sketching?
No, yeah, groundwork, but I'm not doing the sketching. Since I'm not a
Oh.
real estate agent, I don't have to do that anymore.
Oh, I didn't know you had to be a realtor to do the sketching.
Yeah, they changed that. They changed that about a year and a
Oh,
half ago and stuff.
okay.
So even with that, so
Yes.
again, part of my goal is for the house inspections to try to pull in about $600 or $700 a month.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
everything that I do is centered around
Mm.
a goal.
Goals.
My goal is this. Even when I got into the business, I said I needed to make enough money from notary so I could
Yeah.
let go to Grubhub, the Uber. Well, I didn't do
Mm-hmm.
Uber Eats and all that kind of stuff. I had to let
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff go. I needed
Yes.
to in order to focus. So I said I got
Yes.
to make a certain amount of money. So I just kept
Right.
setting goals of
Mm-hmm.
dollar amounts. And
Yep.
then here's the thing: once I hit that dollar amount, then it was about maintaining the dollar amount for at least 4 to 6 months, and then up it. That's why
Mm.
you hear me say a lot of times, after all the training and all this, that, and the other you've gone to, all the little courses and
Yeah.
conferences, has anything there given you have put you in a position to have a 10% increase sustained?
Mm.
If you're not getting that, see, your goal should be when I go to these conferences, when I take these courses, whatever
Yes.
I do, whether individually or collectively with them,
Yeah.
they need to put me in a position to have a 10% increase in my business.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it's like, okay, 10% more phone calls, 10% more calls coming either from title companies, through the signing companies, or maybe through general notary. Then
Right.
from there, do I have a 10% increase in revenue if I'm getting business?
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're
Mm-hmm.
getting a $50 order, I guarantee you enough $50 orders, when you got no dollar orders, that's going to be a
No.
10% increase.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
now you
Absolutely.
can, right. So you have to have an increase. And what I'm not hearing is people setting goals,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not hearing people saying they have an increase from what they've
As a
actually
result
done.
of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because they went to
Absolutely.
this training, they went to that training. See, I
Mm-hmm.
can already tell you had more than a 10% increase,
Mm-hmm.
even in your just your personality and your attitude
Mm-hmm.
and your willingness to go out there. It's
Yeah.
increased
Mm-hmm.
more than what it was before.
Oh,
So
absolutely. Yeah. Not just in, and not even just
mhm,
in notary, but in real estate.
right.
um it was like just coming back to life. Last year I had a beautiful year. My daughter got married. I was in a wedding in Mexico. My mom was here. We did her art exhibit. It's a beautiful year. But as far as, I was blessed to be an entrepreneur,
Hmm.
and having all the time, but the money was tight. Girl was squeezed. But when I came back up, like, okay, time to, okay. I said, Mom, look, when I get, my mother lives in Jamaica. I said, when I get back to the States, I've got to
Hmm.
get to work, hit the ground running, back to notary, started
Right.
reaching out to Belinda, got back on Clubhouse. And yes, just in that, my energy changed, my energy shifted. I was posting more on social media. People were reaching out for real estate. I have a
Yep.
listing right now that's live and active. I have at least 3 clients that are going through the one is going through the underwriting process. I closed a deal the earlier part of this year. I have a couple other ones. So it's just everything. It's like harvest season, because I also listen to God and him saying, get after it. What,
Yeah.
you have to get after it. And I'm the type, if it's not making me happy, if it's not making me money, I'm not making time for it. And so I am just going full speed ahead, and I'm not letting anything stop me. And it's not just about the bag, it's about growth. And I've got to run my business more professionally, and that is going to be one of my next goals. It's not going to
Right.
be in my 60-day challenge my next 60-day challenge, it may be too soon, but it's going to be with Belinda. But again, it's going to be
If
with,
that's where you need to be, you know where you need to
yeah,
be.
yeah, it's
And
going to
that's
be
what
with
we have here on the screen here, y'all. The next
commission.
60-day challenge, May 4th through the
Yes.
13th of July,
Yes.
2025.
I can't
The
wait.
information is in the description. Sign up. I'm telling you, always be forgetting the pricing there. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, I think they missed the
$29.
early. Yeah, yeah, missed the
Yeah,
early birds.
$29
Yeah.
and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So sign up. I'm telling you, you have
Mm-hmm.
mentorship with me. You got intro to Canva. You got marketing. You got financial freedom. You got procrastination, intentional accountability. So we're helping y'all to move forward in what you actually need. This
Yeah.
isn't about, ooh, take this class and you can use this to make money. If
Mm-hmm.
you have your procrastination under control, you got your money straight, you understand your marketing, you have the tools like Canva, and you've been properly mentored, you can make money.
That's right.
Most people don't make money because they're out there playing around with opportunities, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
have the tools to work that opportunity.
And stay
So if you don't
focused.
have the tools
Mm-hmm.
to work the opportunity that you've been given, then how
Yeah,
can you make anything happen? So
that's
you
right.
got a phone, but if you don't have a charger, guess what? Eventually it's gonna die on you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's gonna conk out
When
on you.
it works
You
together,
have to have
it
the
works
tools.
together. Mm-hmm.
If you don't
That's right.
have the tools or know how to properly use the tools,
That's right.
then okay, yeah, you got this opportunity to do estate planning
Mm-hmm.
or apostille,
Apathy. Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff, but a general, okay, then again, are you seeing a 10% increase? And that's
Right.
minimal. Are you
Yeah.
seeing a 10% increase? Even if you tell, well, Griff, I see about a 5%, at least you're
Mm-hmm.
seeing an increase.
Yes, and that's going to
At
give you the drive
least
to keep going. It's going to give you the
to keep
drive
going.
to keep showing up like, oh, that actually worked. That tool actually worked. I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep showing up for myself. I'm going to set another goal and I'm going to
Hmm.
accomplish that next goal. It's
Yeah.
really, really important.
And even Friday, I got I think a small closing for $40.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
40
Guess
bucks. I'm
what?
gonna go knock it out. I think it's about 15 pages.
It's a full tank of
Ah,
gas. People
it's
don't
about me
realize it.
making money.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
If people talk about competing, see, my goal is to be the top competitor in my area. So
Mm-hmm.
that means in
Mm-hmm.
order for me to be the top competitor, I got to go out there and compete and take orders.
That's
So
right.
whether it's $50,
Be
whether it's
available.
$80, whether it's $200,
Yes.
if I get the work and my competition doesn't, then I'm
Yes.
winning. Now,
That's
am I
right.
going to get everything? No,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
I'm going to take what I can,
Yes.
and that's my goal. So my goal isn't so much about what I'm getting per order. Most
Mhm.
people, you got one or two goals when it comes to money in this business. Okay, I'm not talking
Mhm.
about any other business. You
Right.
either got a goal to make something per order or per month.
Mhm.
And I did a video about that a long time ago, and I
Mm.
find it and I put it in the description.
Mhm.
But are you trying to get a per order goal, have a per order goal, or a per month? Because
Mhm.
per order, if you're depending whatever it is, the question is the per order goal enough to meet your monthly goal? And here's
Mhm.
one thing I always share with people: most notaries who are out there talking about their per order goal, I
Mhm.
guarantee you they don't have a monthly goal. Because
Mm.
in order to say I have a monthly goal of $5,000, well, that means what? You have
Wow.
to actually say how many, how much, and I want 150. So that means what? You got 5,000
Mhm.
divided by 150. That means you got 33 orders.
You have to
Did you
do that
get
in
33
real
orders?
estate as well. You want to set a
Correct.
goal for the year? Okay, so that means how many houses do you have to sell on an
Correct.
average? And that means how many appointments do you have to sell? It's
Right.
a certain amount of appointments that you have to make to get a listing or to get a buyer. Like
Hmm.
it's all
It's
calculated.
about
It's
math.
all calculated.
And when
Yes.
you don't understand math,
Mhm.
you're like,
Yep.
what? And it's easy to brag that, hey, all my orders this month was 150.
Yeah.
How many did you have? And see, this
Yeah.
is the thing that I always share with notaries. Why don't y'all question them?
Mhm.
How many orders did you get at 150?
Mhm.
And if they say
Mhm.
eight, okay, cool. So they got eight. All right, 150 times eight, that's $1,200. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Now the question is, how much of your bills did that 1,200 pay?
Right. What did you do with it?
Right.
What did you do with
Because if
it?
all you needed was $1,200, then great.
Mhm.
But if you needed more than 1,200,
Mhm.
even if you just needed 3,500,
Mhm.
so now you're talking about where's the rest? That's 2,300 you missing. So
Mhm.
how did you get the rest of the money if your monthly expenses for your lifestyle is
That's right.
3,500?
That's
Where
right.
did you get the rest from? If
Mhm.
you didn't, then what kind of business person are you to
Exactly.
brag about the fact that you made this per order
Mhm.
goal of 150, but you
Mhm.
didn't do a monthly goal of 3,500?
Mhm. And
And
now
not
something
because of
maybe
auto,
didn't get paid. Maybe something didn't get paid, or maybe,
no, right.
mhm.
And
I
see, it's not
kept
about
waiting for
whether or
the
not, and you can't say, oh, well, the opportunity to make $2,300 wasn't there.
Mhm.
The issue is that you didn't want to do 2,300 because in order to do that, you had to do 27 orders at $85, and you didn't want to do 85.
Mm-mm.
You see how the numbers work? And this is what people
Yes.
got to, once I understood the numbers, that helped
Mhm.
me to make the proper goals so I could
Mhm.
get out there and do what I needed to do.
Yes.
Do I always hit my monthly goal for dollars?
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
But at least I'm
Mhm.
putting forth a serious effort
Effort. That's
and I
right.
have something.
Mhm.
So even with the $40 order, I was like, I don't feel
Mhm.
like doing it. I'll be honest, I was like, I don't feel like doing it.
Yes.
But then I
Mhm.
got to thinking, I'm like, you know what? It's only 15 pages. I
Yes.
knock it out.
Right,
I'm gonna knock it out.
exactly. Yes, and I'm telling you, that's how I am. That's how I am with Lyft. I want to get off this Lyft wagon so bad, but I'm blessed
Yeah.
with it. I thank God for it. We have to show gratitude, but it's sustained me, right? It's sustaining me right now as I build my business. But
Mm-hmm.
it's okay to be on this thing temporarily, but have to look at the bigger goal. I look at field inspections, $7 a pop. And I'm just like, but then I was like, I've done a few enough where they're allowing me to take more orders. So I'm
Right.
building that reputation,
So you
building
got
a name
favor.
for myself. Yeah. So now they've given me where I can only take 3. Today I took 4, but you have to gauge it where you have to make it work for you, right? You say, okay, that side of town is 30 minutes away, but
Yep.
these 4 are within 5 minutes of each other. So I'm making $28 in 30 minutes. If
That's
it was
it.
an hour, you're looking at $56 an hour. Where are you going to make $56 an hour?
And here's
Really?
my thing is this. If you saw $7 on the ground, you would pick it up.
And quickly.
So you could sit there and talk about $85, $30. If you
Hmm.
saw it on the ground, you
Hmm.
would put forth effort to pick it up.
Exactly. Exactly.
So the
You have
question
to
is,
make
are
it
you
work.
willing to put forth? See, I have a goal of every day put forth effort to get
Hmm.
the job done.
Yes.
Period. I don't
Yes.
care how tired I am. I don't care how late I stay up. I will lay
Mhm.
my hind parts down, even if it's just for an hour. Y'all see, but
That's
people,
right.
there have been times where I've just slept for an hour
Hmm.
and
Oh
got
yeah.
right back up
Oh
and
yeah.
went out there and did what I had to do
Hmm.
for the whole day, and I'm good. And then I might
Yeah.
sleep 2 days later, but
Hmm.
you got to be willing to put forth the effort. So my goal is not to be lazy and to take
Hmm.
advantage of every opportunity that comes out there.
That's right.
That's what the goal is.
That's
So
right.
there's small goals that each one of us has to set.
Hmm.
And it's not about having these goals so we can brag to
Mm-mm.
everybody on YouTube and
Mm-mm.
Instagram and all of that and go to conferences and hopefully somebody will pull us across the stage.
Mhm,
Because after all of that is done, we are clearly seeing and have seen that all
mhm.
these people who bragged about all this money they making, a lot of them ain't even in the business anymore.
That's
They
right.
fell off because they
Yeah.
wasn't able to sustain. They couldn't
Mhm,
handle it emotionally to drop it
mhm.
in
That's right.
dollar amount. They might have still had the volume, but the dollar amount dropped and they couldn't handle it because they didn't do what? One of the things they didn't
Stay
do was
consistent.
they didn't have their finances together.
Yes.
They didn't
Mhm.
have that together
That's
and they
right.
made some mistakes.
That's right.
So, and that's a part of what we're trying to do here is help people be well
Yes.
rounded because it's really not about what's the next thing that a notary can make money from.
Mhm.
It's how do I get myself to running a business like it's supposed to be
Business,
ran? And
consistency,
that's what the 60-day challenge
consistency.
is about. It's
That's right.
helping you get your business to where it needs to be.
That's right.
Because if your business is where it needs to be, then the money
Mhm.
will come.
That's
But
right.
if it's not, you
Mhm.
might make a little bit of money, but I guarantee
Mhm.
money will run away from you real quick because you're
Mhm.
not ready for it. Money is attracted to
Mhm.
excellence. And if you're not
Yes.
operating in excellence in your business,
Yes.
you will not see success. You're not going to see it.
Absolutely. Mhm.
You're going to
That's so
see
true.
sparks, or
Mhm.
you'll see spurts
Mhm.
of what you think is success, but
That's right.
success is supposed to be long term. And that's why I keep harping on, do you see a 10% increase?
Mhm.
Because if I go to a conference and after that conference, I don't see and I'm not motivated to
Mhm.
push 10% more and
Mhm.
put 10% more effort out there,
You just
it was
wasted
a
your
waste of my
money and your
time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a way.
Mhm.
It's not about going to a conference so you can meet with the title people.
Yes.
See, here's my question:
Mhm.
if your goal was to go to, let's just say it, the NNA conference to meet the title
Mhm.
people, because that's what they all promote, or you can meet the
Mhm.
people that's at the title company. Okay, how many of you actually had a chance to meet with them one on
Mhm.
one? And those of you who did, how much business did you get afterwards?
Yeah, because half of them already have a notary. They
Right, they
already
already
have
got their
notary.
stuff
So
set.
what's your value proposition? It's like, okay, well, what are you going to do with that? Okay, so maybe they have someone who signs their notary docs, but that person takes time off. You have to stay relevant to that. You have to show up. You have to
Correct.
keep coming. You have to, okay, I have their information, get it into your CRM, get over there and pop buys. Dashika is big with pop buys. You bring
Mhm.
them some candy. What is her saying is, it's better to need me and have me than to need me and not have me. I forgot how she said it,
Like
but
that. Yeah, I know
it's
what you're
better
talking
to
about.
know
Yeah.
that you have me in your Rolodex or in your phone or as a backup, and like, oh, I always see that notary magnet. Yeah, that notary magnet. Let me go to that person. It's like you have to stay relevant. And even when you have
Mhm.
that downtime, let me
Yeah.
just pop over here. Somebody crosses your mind, pick up the phone, call them. Hey, how's
Mhm.
things going? Do you have any notary needs? Do you know anyone else? And I am about that life. That's why I say God wastes nothing. And the time that I was not going hard in weddings and loan signings, I was learning how to be forward facing, talking to people, getting
There you
comfortable with
go.
having those tough conversations. And even that may be something for the next challenge. Having those what are they? Elevator pitches. We
Yeah.
need elevator pitches. Like, how do you present yourself if someone says, "So what do you do?" Because I'm not good at it. I need
Okay.
work.
Well, you know
That I
what?
need
Look, I've done this many times. It's simply this. So we'll say that you are a title person,
work.
and I'm sitting there, which I don't have, but let's
Okay.
just say that today I happen to have a notary shirt on, or I answer the phone, Griffin Notary Services, and after the phone call, you'll ask me what?
What do you
Yes.
do?
What
Oh,
I
wait,
do?
after the phone call? That's
Yeah,
it?
after I have my phone call, you say, "Excuse me."
What is it
It,
that you do?
oh, well, I'm the person who solves title companies' problems to ensure
Mm,
that they get the proper notary for their closings. I make sure that
okay.
when that document leaves my hands and goes back to you, that goes to the courthouse, that it'll get recorded the first time.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Yes.
That's what
Yes.
I do.
Okay.
I'm
So
not
you
I'm
do
not
it
I'm not using
small,
the catchphrases.
confident,
Right.
specific.
I'm
Yeah.
not I'm not using the I'm using and see here's the thing. You can't just use terms that we know in the industry that they may not be familiar with. Because what do
Mhm.
they put on the closing disclosure? Either mobile notary or
Mhm.
notary. So I'm not
Mhm.
going to say the phrase loan signing agent or notary signing agent because
Mhm.
they may not be familiar with that. But what they are familiar with is that the notary is supposed to be there to ensure
Mhm.
that that closing gets done correctly in accordance with state law, so that when they take it to the courthouse, it gets filed and it gets filed the first time.
Mhm.
That's what my job. That is what I do. I'm
Mhm.
the guy who solves your problems to ensure that if your client can't come to your office, I can go to them.
Mhm.
If your
Okay.
client is out to sea or overseas somewhere or in another state, and you got authorization to do it via Ron, I can
Not
get
a
on there
problem.
and do it using remote online notarization.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I
Mm-hmm.
present myself. I don't
Mm-hmm.
ask for business. I don't ask them how much business. The asking them how much their volume is may become later when they want to talk about working with me. But all
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing is saying what I do is I make sure that you get paid.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
you ever tell them that's a really what do you do? I said, well, I make sure that title people in the real estate industry that's buying, selling houses, they get paid. If it's a lender, I'll say buying, selling, and refinancing, I make sure they get paid. I make sure
Mm-hmm.
everybody who's a part of the process prior to me meeting with the
Wow.
signers
I like
that they're
that.
going to get paid.
I'm writing that down.
Because when you think about it, if we don't do our part, nobody gets paid.
That's right.
The lender can have the best deal. The title company can get all the stuff clear. The real estate agent can find the perfect house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But when it
But
comes down to the nitty
if I
gritty,
don't do my part right,
yes, the signatures have to be in place, on the right page, in the right order, and
everything.
sent off for recordation.
And my job is to make sure that everybody in the process prior to the documents getting to me,
Mm-hmm.
after the documents come from me, you get paid.
That's right.
See, that's all they want. See, in other
Yeah.
words, I'm saying I'm your problem
Bottom
solver.
line. Mm-hmm.
I'm the person who's going to solve your problem to help
Mm-hmm.
you meet your goal. Your
Right.
goal is to have 100% closing, proper closings on your documents, right? Yeah.
Right.
Even though they may not say it, but that is the goal. The goal is that every month, if I got 14 closings this month, you want 14 of them to close and to be right and to execute properly with the courthouse so everybody get paid.
That's right.
That's
Yes.
all you got to share with them. And when you
Mm-hmm.
talk like that, because money talks, and you say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, so you about versus the notary. Well, I'm an NNA certified notary, and I have this NNA pin, and I'm an ambassador, and I go to every conference,
Yeah.
and my fee is $200. So I mean, you want me, you get white glove service, and you get
No. We need
no.
to get
You ain't
down to
talking about what you do for
talk
them.
my language. Yes. Mm-hmm.
What am I? I'm here to do this, irregardless of the dollar amount. And when people do ask me, they say, "Well, how much you charge?" I said, "Well, look, we'll talk about that later." I said, "Look, I can clearly see you're a professional,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a professional, and I don't have any inkling that you would ever stiff me on money."
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling them right now, I'm like, "No, I'm not expensive, but I know that you're not going to sit here and lowball me."
That's
So I'm
right.
already telling them I have confidence in you that you'll
Mm-hmm.
see the value in me. Because
Wow.
even though we know we can say my worth is 200, they might not look at notaries because they don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
They might not look at notaries as being worth 200.
Right.
I
Right.
say,
Yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm
To
like, hey,
put out pricing.
I have confidence in you. I said,
Yeah.
I have confidence that when you see the work that I do and how I take care of you and your documents and the people who you allow me to meet. Notice how I'm saying that you allow me to meet.
Mm-hmm.
You gonna realize the value that I bring, which is gonna be far better than any other notary.
Yes.
So I don't have to talk to them about dollar amounts and stuff. Now, if they press, then I tell them. If they really, really press,
Mm-hmm.
okay. If you really want to press, then okay. Let me go high. Let me
Mm-hmm.
throw a high dollar amount to show how
Mm-hmm.
confident I am. And they're like,
Yes.
oh, okay. I said, does that fit with and here's all I say is, does that fit within your budget?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I said, because my goal is not to bankrupt you. I
Right.
said, but my goal is to help you get paid by doing what? Proper
Mm-hmm.
notary.
Mm-hmm.
By doing my proper notary each and every time. That's what my goal is.
Yeah.
If you allow me to work with you, you'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
So I
It's,
always put the power back in the hand that you are
sign
allowing
me
me
up,
to be a
Chris.
part of yours.
Sign me up for the class. That's what we
That's what
call
I do.
scripting role
And that's
play.
what I teach in the mentor class, y'all. But I
Yeah.
teach people how to go out there and you got to be able to spot how to give your elevator pitch. Sometimes the
Mm-hmm.
elevator pitch is, I'm a notary. I make sure that people's closings get done properly, and so that when the transaction is done, everybody who's trying to get paid gets paid. And you can just leave it at that. You ain't got to brag. You ain't got to talk about your years experience. You ain't got to talk about your NNA background. You ain't got to talk about the internet. You ain't got to talk about none of that.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't got to talk about no training you done. You ain't got to talk
Right.
about no E&O because
Yes.
to this day, not one single direct client I have has ever asked me to produce
Like your
E&O insurance
background. Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
background check or any of
Yes.
that. They
Yes.
want to know, can you be available and can you
Get it
do it
out
when
there.
we ask you?
Yes. Yes.
That's what they want because it's so much so that I was supposed to have one at 8 o'clock. It was supposed to be in Iran at 8 o'clock, but it got canceled. That's
Mm.
why we still talking.
Mm. You're
So
like, okay,
had
that's
that one went.
fine.
That's how confident I am that I was like, me and you meeting at 7. Then we're gonna meet again at 9 o'clock for the 1-on-1 to help you out with some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so confident in myself that I said, you know what, I'll squeeze in this here 8 p.m. Ron
Yep.
because
Yeah.
it's a signing company that called me, but they asked me, hey, can you? I said,
Mm-hmm.
I said I'll find a way to squeeze it in, and I already knew that if I had to and it was gonna go long, then
Mm-hmm.
I might have to push our time back by 30 minutes. But I said I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
make it all work. So
That's
you
right.
have to have confidence in yourself, and when you
Yes.
do,
Mm-hmm.
it'll exude to the people who are hiring you.
That you know how to handle yourself and you know how to handle your business.
Right. And at
Mm-hmm.
the last minute, about 15 minutes before we got on,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, got
Yeah.
canceled. So it might
I
happen
had,
on Friday
mm-hmm. I had
instead. So I'm
somebody
like, all
reach
right,
out
bet.
to me on Friday, last week, Friday, saying, hey, can you do a seller's packet? And I said, sure. I mean, I was gonna go to my notes,
Mm-hmm.
and make it happen. I've gotten great training from great experts in the field, and I was just gonna make it happen. And
Yep.
she kept saying it was something with her client that he was on again, off again, on again. And then she reached out to me. So she was off on Friday. She was like, he doesn't want to do it. And I think it's a close friend of hers that's just not, it's just on the fence about selling.
Gotcha.
And so Saturday she reached out to me. Now Sunday I'm in church. And I had to do an open house for my listing on Sunday afternoon. And I was like, I was going to fit it in. I says, well, I'm in church until 11:30. I can see you at 12:30. And this will take a half an hour or less for a seller's packet. I said, half an hour less. I said, it's 12:30 or nothing at all. Because I wasn't going to do it after my open house. It's time for my
Right.
rest.
Makes
And I
sense.
wasn't gonna miss. I'm sure I wasn't gonna miss church for it. And so
Understand.
I says 12:30. Now that we're again talking about this, now
Mm-hmm.
your options are limited because you
Right.
keep coming back. Friday I had 2 times set for her, and then Saturday I would have been able to fit it in. She didn't reach out on Saturday until
Right.
Saturday night. Hey, can we do this tomorrow? I was like, well, the only window I have is 12:30. And then she was like, okay, let me get back to him. And then it was like, he still doesn't want to do it. Okay. Let me know when you
Well,
need me.
yep. That's all you can do, and
Hmm.
that's business. That's it.
Yeah.
It's no different than going to the store. Do you want to
Hmm.
buy this shirt today? Well, I don't know. Okay, well,
Hmm.
it's on sale today for 15% off.
Hmm.
After in 2 days, it's going to go down to 10% off, and then
Hmm.
2 days after that, it's going to go back to regular price.
You're
Make up
right.
the money. By the time you come back, it's regular price. But I know,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
I share with you. So that's all it
Yesterday's
is.
price is
We're
not
just there
today's
for when
price.
they need us.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So just be available for when they need you.
Yeah. Hmm.
Well, Camille, we had a wonderful time talking.
This was great, Griff. I'm glad
I
to
know.
finally have been in the spotlight next to Uncle Griff.
Well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate everybody who watched this. I know this was gonna be longer than 5 or 10 minutes, but hey, look,
Hmm.
this is what it is. And guess what? The dog
Get
stopped
on
barking.
that. Yes,
The dog stopped
he
barking.
finally he tired himself out. He wore himself
And
out.
y'all didn't even notice it. Y'all
Yes,
didn't even notice for the
that's
last
right.
20 minutes that dog ain't been barking.
That's
See?
right.
So,
Mhm.
mhm. Well,
Yes.
you have a
So get
good one,
on
young
that
lady.
challenge. Get on
Want
that
to say that
challenge.
again?
I was saying get on that challenge. Find
Yes.
something. There is something. And I'm sure that another challenge will come. Just get on there. It's worth it. Even if you miss the early bird special, that $29.99 is what you're going to make of it. Spend your money and put your all into it. It will be worth it. It goes by quickly. It is a small amount of time to invest in yourself, a small amount of money to invest in yourself and your business, and it is worth every penny, every moment, because besides what you get from your mentor, you're getting gems when we're in the class together. So sign
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, people, because to be honest, this is going to give you information that you're not getting at those other things.
That's
The other
right.
things you're
What
going
you're
to,
paying
this
a
is not,
lot of money for.
yeah, you're paying a lot of
Mhm,
money. And this is
mhm.
giving you the information that you need,
Yes.
especially if you're in mine.
You get
All
what you
right.
need. But I'm gonna get with you on our consultation, that one-on-one. I'm excited. I
Yes.
got my questions ready. So thank
Okay. Sounds good. So, party people, thank y'all for tuning in. We greatly appreciate it. So, we're going to sign off here, take a quick break, and then me and Camille are going to hop on a one on one. And if you're interested in one on ones with me, just look in the description and all the information is there. So, y'all have a good one. And thank you very much, Camille, for your time and your honest
my
review of the
pleasure.
60-day challenge.
Thank you, Griff, for having me.
All
See
right.
you
Y'all
next
have a good
time.
one. Peace.